Welcome back, guys. Josh again. Just going to quickly now run through second video, which is how to use MyFitnessPal to incorporate the foods you enjoy into your daily lifestyle. Okay, so what we've just done previously is I've given you a quick video on how to work out how many calories you should be eating for your goals. And now we need to know how to apply this into MyFitnessPal so you can create yourselves a meal plan moving forward, so that each time you get bored with your food, you can create yourselves a new plan, sticking within the amounts that you need to eat and to achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. So the first thing that we're going to do is just make sure you log into MyFitnessPal. And from there, and if you don't have an account, obviously create one. From there, we're going to head into goals. I'm just going to basically adjust these goals to suit the example that I've just given you guys previously. Okay, so we were looking at a 500 gram loss per week on that 550 calorie deficit per day. And that gave us an outcome of about 1,689 calories. Now, there are some specifications that we use in here in terms of working out your macronutrients, but what I'm going to get you guys to start on is protein. We're going to just make these either 30 or 35%. So if you're somebody that struggles to get protein in your diet, we're going to just start you off at 30%. If you're someone that loves eating protein, loves eating meat, then you can adjust that to 35. Okay, so just as the example today, I'm going to start it at 30%. We're going to hit 25% on your fat, and whatever's left, we just make into carbohydrates. Okay, so 45% basically left to reach that total of 100%. Okay, so again, if I was to make our protein 35%, for example, you can see I've gone over here. So what I would do is just bring down my carbohydrate content to 40%. Okay, just for the example today, I'm going to go back to 30% and 45 for our carbohydrates. Once that's done, I'm just going to hit Save Changes. So again, remembering that there's 1,689 calories per day, averaged over the course of the 7-day period, should give us, based on the person that I input into the BMR calculator, roughly a 500 gram loss per week. All right. So once I've done that, I'm going to head into food, and I'm going to show you guys how you can build out a meal plan. Okay, now I've obviously got some foods that I've searched many times before. If you're doing this for the first time, then clearly you're not going to have those foods. That's going to take you time. It's going to take you a little bit longer to work through this process. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I always look at things in terms of the foods I want to add in first. So if there's certain foods that I want to have, for example, if I want to have some chocolate in here, I'm going to add that in first and then build the rest of my day around that, still making sure that I hit these amounts here. So our calorie amount is our first in terms of importance. Second, we're really aiming to hit our protein goals because we want to make sure that we maximize and prevent muscle loss. And then from here, our carbs and fats. And if they're a little bit up or down, either way, that doesn't matter, as long as our number 1, calories, and number 2, protein, is really, really solid. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to stacks because I can't live without chocolate, and I can't expect you guys to do that. So I'm going to show you how to do it. When I add some of these things in, like I'm going to add a twirl in to this example, this is not something I would do every day, all right? But if you guys have cravings in these foods that you just can't live without, in a couple of days through the week, there's nothing wrong with having this as part of your plan. So what you might do is actually create 2 plans, one with your favorite chocolate or your favorite meal that you can't live without, and then one without that, where you're looking to, eat a little bit more nutritious over the rest of the 5 days, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to click that. This is something that I've obviously done before. I'm going to add it to the diary, and I'm just going to start my diary from here. as you can see, what happens here is that as I enter my food, we're going to start calculating along what we're actually using, okay? I'm going to go into my lunch at this point. Two things I really like for lunch in terms of convenience. So I'm going to quickly add those in and show you how easy lunch can be. It's the Bird's Eye rice with Mediterranean vegetables. They're steamed packets. It takes 2.5 minutes in the microwave. Got a great mix of all different types of veggies and some rice, of course. I'm going to add that in. And with that, I'm going to add in some chicken breast. So you can mix the meats up. That doesn't really matter. You might choose beef, chicken, does not matter. We're just looking to hit those amounts. And of course, you can do what you like with your chicken breast. You can dice it up, put whatever herbs and spices and stuff like that on it. That's not going to be a concern, but I'm just going to add in, start with some rice and some vegetables. I'm going to change this amount. So I've got this here, our chicken breast set as 100 grams times 2 for me. Typically, most of the girls that we speak to like to go a little bit lower, and because I've based that example from the BMR on a female, I'm going to go with that in my examples. I'm just going to make that 1.5, which will clearly work as about 150 grams of chicken. I'm going to add that to the list. Okay, so once we've added in our lunch, again, you can see that calories left over is getting lower. You can start to see where I'm hitting how much protein I've now added, how much fat and how much carbohydrates I've put in so far. So dinner's very similar. So I don't overcomplicate things. Some of you guys might, and the more you overcomplicate it, the more meal plans you might have to create, okay? So you can eat something different every day. It just means that you have to come up with different plans. All right, so I'm going to add in something that I eat a lot of, which is our broccolini, some green beans, and what else? Our carrots, okay. They're going to be my veggies for the dinner. And then from there, I'm going to add in some meat. Not what I like to have. We're going to go with some beef for this one, just Scotch fillet steak. Again, I'm going to change this to 1.5 to reflect about 150 grams. Again, this might sound boring to you guys, but specifically through the week, really, really good idea to get things quite basic. It helps with your routine, makes things nice and easy. Okay, so we can start to see that we're getting close to our goals now in terms of fat and protein, still a way off the carbohydrate. I'm going to our breakfast now and just add in maybe some eggs on toast. We'll start with 2 eggs. See if I can find, yep, I've got that there. So 2 slices of bread and 2 eggs is what I'm going to add into my breakfast. Now, I may change this as a later date, and that's going to depend on what the numbers are telling me, okay? Okay, so with those eggs, we've just gone over fat. This is not my concern. My calories here are my concern, and my protein at this point are my concern, okay? So that's all I'm looking at. Now, because I'm still low on protein, you might look at this and go, well, I don't want to eat any more than 150 grams of meat. I can't do that. There's a couple of things you can do here. Firstly, if you are happy eating more, you can bump that 150 grams to 200 grams, and that might be just enough to get you to your protein goal. For a lot of us, that's not going to be the way that we go about it. So I'm going to add in a protein shake just because of that reason. You don't have to use a shake. You just have to find your protein from somewhere else. That's where it comes a little bit of practice. But the ones that I've been using is a Venom protein, so I'm going to go with that. Add that in. I can send you guys the link to that protein. It's fairly cheap, but good quality, and tastes pretty good as well, which is clearly a concern for most people. You can sort of see here now I've gone over my protein a little bit. Again, that's not an issue. What is an issue is if we're consistently under that protein goal. It's pretty close at 9 over, so I'm not concerned with that. I'm not concerned with my fat. What I've got left is 349 calories and 94 grams of carbs. So clearly the rest of these calories are going to be made up of carbohydrate, okay? So I'm going to start adding in some more foods. for that. I'm going to go back into the snacks, and the first thing I'm going to look at is maybe what we can use for a pre-workout. Right, so something that you can use for a little bit of a pre-workout drink that gives you a little bit of energy. It's also going to give you a good source of carbohydrates and vitamin C. We're going to look at a Nudie orange juice. Orange juice is not bad for you, or any juice is not bad for you as long as you're looking at whole foods. It's no additives, it's actual juice of that fruit, and we're not going over the recommended amount. So what we're going to do here is, I believe, it does say 400 ml here. It's going to be a little bit less than that. I'm going to go with this is the one here, so juice with pulp. And I think, from my memory, it's about 250 ml, which is a serve. So I'm going to click on the 1 ml and then change that to 250 servings of 1 ml, which will give you the 250 ml, of course. I'm going to add that into my diary. Okay, I'm just going to keep a check down here and see where things are going. So I've added in my orange juice, which I'm going to use as a bit of a pre-workout to get some energy. I'm still quite low here, aren't I? So a little bit more foods. I might beef up my dinner. I'm going to add a little bit of potato to my dinner. You can go sweet potato, white potato. Doesn't matter. We're looking at the amounts, okay? Don't stress about sweet potato versus white potato and brown rice versus white rice. Just look at the amounts down the bottom and then make your judgment there. Go with what you enjoy. So I'm clicking here as a white potato, 2 servings of 75 grams. You can mash it. You can do whatever you like to it. The important thing is if you mash it with something like butter, etc., or milk, that needs to be added in here as well. For the purpose of this, I'm just adding in the potato. All right, now we're getting closer. I'm still low in calories, I'm still low in carbs, everything else is looking okay. Snacks again, I'm going to now add in another piece of fruit. Most people's favorite, a banana. I'm going to add in a banana. We can see here we're getting pretty close now. So once we're close, then you can start tweaking the little things, okay? I'm not going to worry too much about being 54 calories too low here, but for example, if you wanted to add in and change that around, add a little bit more carbs, we could do a couple of things there. Clearly, we can add a little bit more in vegetables. That's going to be an easy way to do that. I could add a little bit more potato. In terms of the rice up here, you could add more, but remember my version here is an actual packet, so it's a little bit harder to do that. We could add in another piece of fruit, something that's low calorie, that's just carbohydrates. It could be like a small, like a nectarine or something like that. However, we're just going to leave that as it is because it's not too far off. We're talking, 50 calories. Everything else is sitting pretty well. Okay. And again, if you are somebody that craves certain things and you want to build it into your plan, just as an example, we're going to take out the banana just to show you. And along with the 12, I'm going to add a little bit of ice cream because every now and again, I'm sure that you probably feel like having something like that. So just to give you an example of how this looks. So once I add in 100 grams of the ice cream that I've actually chosen here, I'm just going to go down and have a bit of a look. So we've gone over slightly in terms of calories. Again, it's only 42. That'll take your sugar up. That'll take a couple of these things up, but that doesn't matter. That's still sitting pretty good. So what we can see here, and again, we could change a couple of these. For example, we could look at chicken breast, for example. I could go into that and I will make it 1.2 serves. So about 120 grams instead of 150, and all of a sudden you see that the calories are pretty much spot on. All right, our carbs are still a little bit lower, but our protein's over, which is definitely nothing wrong with that. Our fat's a little bit over, but remembering we don't worry too much about our balance of fats and carbs as long as it's within an acceptable amount. You can see with the amounts here, they're pretty close. Okay, sugar's all still pretty close, but if you have a day where that goes over, again, you're not going to be concerned with that as long as it doesn't happen every day. And what you've done here is now based a plan of 1,689 calories. We've based it around a 12, some chocolate, we've got a little bit of ice cream in there, and then outside of that, we've got a good balance of proteins, fats, carbohydrates to hit the amounts that we need to hit. Okay, and again, you're not going to do this every day. I don't want everybody having ice cream and chocolate every night. Right? We want to make sure that you balance this out over the course of the week. You might do it 2 nights a week. On the other nights, you might take out the ice cream, take out the 12, and add in some more chicken, some more potato, that sort of stuff to get you through it. Or alternatively, another snack like a yogurt or something like that that you can add in that's going to balance out the calories from the 12 and the ice cream. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. Now, just before I finish the video, I want to show you 2 ways that I want you to think about going about it. I'm going to share a little whiteboard screen again. Try and go with me here a little bit because it can get a little bit messy. So 2 ways to go about getting that 1689 average. For this diagram, I'm just going to work on 1600. So this is your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you were to eat that 1,600 calories all day, every day, you know that over the course of the 7 days, your average is going to be 1,600, right? So in theory, you should be getting the result that you're after, which was that 500 gram loss per week. So if you're somebody that is still tracking your food on the weekends, for example, and you're able to do that, and you live a lifestyle that allows you to do that, then great, okay? If not, what you can actually do is there's another way of doing this, which, again, it's not something we always recommend, but it gives you an opportunity to average out your calories still over the course of the week and still get a result that you're after. So again, we're going to look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, this example, perhaps this person eats out on a Friday night and their calories go up to here. Saturday night, they like to eat out, and they have a very social person, so they eat out 2 or 3 times a day and their calories are up here. And then Sunday, they can get it back to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So over the course of these 7 days, we want to make sure that we're still hitting this 1,600 calorie average, okay? So what we can do here is reduce the amounts on the Monday, on the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, and the Sunday. We don't want to be extreme with this, but if you were to reduce this, for example, to 1,400 calories as an example, that gives you 200, 400, 600, 800, and 1,000 calories to play with extra on the Friday and the Saturday. 1,000 calories extra. Okay, hopefully that's starting to make sense here. You might then have 1,700 on the Friday. Don't worry about my maths here because I'm probably going to screw this up. You've got 1,000 to play with. You've eaten an extra 100 on the Friday. And then on Saturday, you've eaten an extra 900, which would look like 2,500. If we do the maths there, we may find that I've got that right at 1,600, at a 1,600 calorie average over the course of a 7-day period. Okay, I potentially got that very wrong, which is more than fine. But to give you an example there on how that works, you can actually work out being able to have a little bit extra on the Friday and Saturday, slightly under on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday as an example, and that would still equate to your 1,600 calorie average. Hopefully that makes sense. All it is a matter of working out on a weekly basis which person you are. All right, and if you're obviously unsure and you have an unplanned weekend, then you can obviously make up those calories in those first few days on the following week as well. So there are ways around it in terms of getting the body composition result that you're after. Okay, what I want you guys to do is to go back to your MyFitnessPal. I want you to take a look at what you've actually, your calorie amounts that we went through earlier. Right, and from there, go into MyFitnessPal, change your goals, change your calorie amounts to what we've set, and then from there, have a go at planning yourselves a guide. Okay, put the foods in there that you want to put in there and Show yourselves that you can actually do that. Again, any questions, email josh@pumpedfit.com.au, and I'll see you guys soon.